the social science assignment number 1, which is related to your geography assignment. So, as per the syllabus, geography subject is a very important subject, everyone. So, we just start with the assignment questions. There you can see one is correct answer and other one are incorrect answer. So, we'll try to make understand all the topics and we'll try to cover all the topics as we can. So, let's start with the question number 1. So, the question number 1 is India is located between. So, as we know, India is located in South Asia, right? We have studied this topic in our school times. Next is India lie to the north of the equator and lies in the northern and eastern hemisphere, as we all know. So, what's the answer? India lying between latitude 8 degree 4 north to 37 degree 6 north and from longitude 68 degree 7 eastern to 97 degree 25 eastern longitude, right? So the country is divided into almost equal parts by the Tropic of Cancer, right? According to the equator. Okay, so it's the easiest one. Now let's move on to the next question, question number 2. So here's the question number 2. What is the total length of land frontier of India? So there are some questions which are of the learning process. So these kind of questions you have to learn, right? You have to memorize them. That what is the what is the longitude, what is the latitude, what is the equator, what is the total length. So as we all know, India is the seventh largest country by area, right? The length is 3214 kilometer, breadth 29 2933 kilometer, right? So the land frontier of India is 15,200 kilometer and a coastline of 7,517 kilometer. And also, India is divided into 7 regions. What they are? They are the North Mountains, Indo-Gangetic Plains, Thar Desert, Central Highlands and Deccan Plateau, East Coast, West Coast. Seventh one is bordering seas and islands. So India is divided into 7 regions. So the answer for second question is total length of land frontier of India is 15,200 kilometer, right? So question number 2, the correct answer is option number C, 15,200 kilometer. Now the question number 3, which of the following separates India from China? Here are the options: Redcliffe Line, McMahon Line, Durand Line, Bevel Line. So as we all know, India and Pakistan, the separated line is Radcliffe Line, right? That is by Sir Cyril Radcliffe, right? So the same question, that's a similar question here, which of the line separates India from China? Okay, let's discuss this topic. Why India China separated? The Himalayan mountain range separates China from India, right? What we call that? LAC, line of actual control. That is the effective border between India and China. That is also we'll say demarcation line, right? So it divides the Tibetan region of China and northeastern region of India, which is proposed by British administrator named by Henry McMahon. Though, so the answer is McMahon line, right? So you understand the concept. Why is India is separated from China and who's why it has been done and who's proposed it by Henry McMahon. That's the British administrator. So the question number 3, the answer is B, McMahon line. Now move on to the next question number 4. The question number 4 is consider the following statements about Himalayas and identify the right ones. The statements are they act as a climate divide. Second, they do not play an important role in the phenomenon of monsoon rainfall in Indian subcontinent. So, what do you think about the Himalayas? Himalayas act as a natural barrier between two climatic regions, that is India and Central Asia, right? So Himalayas do prevent the cold and dry winds of Central Asia from entering into India. Okay. So Himalayas also act as a physical barrier for rain-bearing southwest monsoon winds to cross the northern frontiers of India. So the number one statement is right one. They act as a climate divide. Yes, Himalayas do act as a climate divide. Now, the second statement is they do not play an important role in the phenomenon of monsoon rainfall in Indian subcontinent. So here's the explanation. The Himalayas play more than the role of barrier for the monsoon. They also help confine into the subcontinent. Without them, the southwest monsoon winds would blow right over the subcontinent into Tibet, Afghanistan, and Russia without causing any rain. So that also causes a problem, an issue, right? So second one is they do not play an important role. No, that is incorrect. They do play an important role. So question number four, what's the right statement? A, the Himalayas act as a climate divide. So question number four, the answer is A. Now question number fifth, where is the India's permanent research station Dakshin Gangotri? Here are the options: Great Himalayas, Indian Ocean, Antarctica, Arabian Sea. You know what is Dakshin Gangotri? It's a glacier, right? We all know Dakshin Gangotri is a glacier, and yes, was the first scientific base station of India. Let me tell you everyone, it's a first scientific base station of India for all these scientific purposes, for all the artificial satellites and everything, for the all scientific purposes. It's a base station of India that is named Dakshin Gangotri. And what we called, you have heard that NCAOR, National Center for Antarctic and Ocean Research, we have heard for. So NCAOR, that is National Center for Antarctic and Ocean Research, इसी नाम में ही already Antarctic है. So here from the options, A. Great Himalayas, B. Indian Ocean, C. Antarctica. What's the right answer? C. Antarctica. Right? So it is situated in Antarctica and was established in 26 January 1984. Okay, write down this NCAOR full form and plus the when was it established, and it is situated in Antarctica. So where is the permanent research station? That is in situated in where? Antarctica. The question number 5, the option number C. Other are incorrect. Here's the question number 6. Consider the following statements and identify the right ones. First statement is peninsular block is rigid and stable in its geological structure. Second statement, the Himalayas are young, weak and flexible in its geological structure. So here's the Himalayas and peninsular block we are talking about. As in the last to last question, we have talked about the Himalayas, what the right statements. There is a similar question that is about the Himalayas and peninsula. So what is peninsula? What do you think peninsula is formed of? Peninsula is formed essentially by a great complex of very ancient granites, everyone, which constitutes a major part of it. Okay, and its standing peninsula has been standing like a rigid block. Okay, with the exception of some of its western coast, which is submerged beneath the sea, and some other parts changed, affecting the original basement. So yes, peninsular block is rigid and stable in its geological structure. First statement on your screen, that is correct one. Now the second one is Himalayas are young, weak, flexible in geological structure. So Himalayas along with other peninsular mountains are young, weak, flexible in their geological structure. We have studied about the Himalayas and peninsula in our school times, right? So yes, they are young, weak and flexible in their geological structure, unlike the rigid and stable peninsular block, which the first statement we have read it. Okay, so both these statements are correct. So answer C, the answer is, so to the question 6, what's the answer is? The answer is C, as the both statements are correct. Let's move on to the question number 7 now. So here is the question number 7. Gulf of Mannar, Pak state separates India from. So here, what's the Pak state and what is Gulf of Mannar? Okay. So I'll tell you, Pak state is a state between Tamil Nadu state of India and Mannar district of Sri Lanka. That's why the name is Pak state. So I just want to tell you everyone that's what's the Mannar Islands about. So a chain of low islands and reef, that is what we call Adam's Bridge, also called Ram Setu. We have also heard that statement. We have also read that Ram Setu. I'll tell you what is Ram Setu. That is stone floats on the water of name Rama written on the rocks. We have seen in Ramayana, right? रामायण में जब हनुमान जी ने स्टोन फ्लोट कराए थे वाटर पे राम राम लिख के सारे फ्लोट हुए थे दैट्स द प्लेस कॉल्ड राम सेतु that includes Mannar Islands, separates the Gulf of Mannar from Pak state, lies between the India and Sri Lanka. That's the background of that Ram Setu. That the Mannar Islands separates the Gulf of Mannar from Pak states lying between India and Sri Lanka. So the question is, Gulf of Mannar and Pak state separates India from where? Sri Lanka. So question number 7, the answer is option B. So here's the question number 8. A landmass bounded by sea on three sides. It refers to as, they are the option coast, peninsula, island, and none of the above. So a land mass bounded by sea on three sides, right? So we know about peninsula. We have a BM Nikia peninsula, right? So India is an example of peninsula, everyone. India is an example of peninsula that is flanked by Bay of Bengal, Arabian Sea, and the Indian Ocean on the east, west, and south. So landmass जो landmass है वो bounded है by the bounded by sea है three sides से तो हम उसको क्या बोलते हैं that is also called peninsula. So there is no coast. We know about the Iceland, right? Iceland is like there is a there is a place where on the greenery area there is a sea around, there is an ocean around it. Okay, so Bawa Sea on a three sides, only a three sides, so that's called peninsula. The question number 8, the answer is B, peninsula. Now question number 9, flora is refers to as, there are the options, species of animals, species of plants, both A and B and none of these. So what is species of animal? We have heard flora and fauna, everyone heard, right? So species of animal, what is that? What is fauna? That is also refers to forest spirits, right? Species of animals, that is a fauna, right? And B, species of plants. And what is flora? So flora is derived from the word from floral. In Latin, what we means goddess of the flowers and plants. Flora in Latin, we the meaning is goddess of the flowers and plants. So species of plants related to whom? Flora, right? So the question number 9 is very easy, right? Flora is referred to as species of plants, right? So the question number 9 is related to, the answer is question number 9 to, it's B. There's some kind of question is very easy, that is very direct question, that is some question are of difficulty level, that is an indirect question which is of a आपको बहुत कंफ्यूज करने के लिए. So this is a very easy question, but I am talking about that's a direct question. Okay. So now let's move on to the 10th question. The question number 10. Why is there a difference in the duration of sunlight at different places? So the options are due to difference in altitudes, due to difference in water bodies, due to difference in longitude, due to difference in latitude. So here's the explanation. The tilt of Earth axis, अगर हम Earth axis को tilt कर दें, also defines the length of a daylight. Correct? So what is daylight hours? That's the shortest in each hemisphere winter, right? So between summer and winter, the number of daylight hours decreases. Obviously हमारे summers में अलग daylight hours होते हैं, winters में अलग daylight hours होते हैं. Summers में हमारे ज़्यादा daylight hours होते हैं, that is increased level, and in winter there are the daylight hours has been decreased, right? We all know about the seasons, we all know about the hours and daylights. So the number of daylight hours decreases, and the rate of decrease is larger, larger the higher the latitude. So what I have told you, the fewer the sunlight hours, the colder the night. Exactly. So what is the answer? What is the answer? The number of daylight hour decreases. The rate of decrease is larger the higher the latitude. So the answer is D. Due to difference in latitudes, that's why the duration of sunlight at different places has been differentiated because of the hours, because of the seasons, because of the, I'll say, places, because of the every reason the duration of sunlight differs places to places. So the question number 10, the answer is B, due to difference in latitudes. Now the question number 11 on your screen, all the plants and animals in an area are interdependent and interrelated to each other in their physical environment. What is the name given to their interrelationship and interdependence? So these are the options. They are the four options: physical environment, ecosystem, biomass, and food chain. So what's the question? Ki plant and animal are interdependent, but are interrelated to each other as well in their physical environment. The humans, the plants and animals, we are doing the same. We are interdependent as well and we are interrelated to each other as well. So what is the name given to this interrelationship and interdependence? The 11th option number A, that is physical environment. Obviously that is into our question. Physical environment is the incorrect answer. So it's a B, ecosystem. Do you think that's the ecosystem is the correct answer? Why? Because the system of interdependent comprises, this is the definition, ecosystem defined as a system of interdependence comprising the physical environment and the organism living within. That's the ecosystem, right? सारे इंटरडिपेंडेंट कंप्राइज करते हैं फिजिकल एनवायरनमेंट एंड ऑर्गेनिज्म, उस पे जीते हैं, राइट? So food chain, we know about the food chain. C, obviously it's a wrong answer. So A, C and D, these three are incorrect answer. So B is the correct answer, where all the plants and animal in an area are interdependent and interrelated to each other in the physical environment, where all the organisms living within. So question number 11 is very easy as per the exam or as per the syllabus is very easy. So the question number 11, the answer is option number B. Let's move on to the next question now. Question number 12. What restricts the tropical evergreen forest? Here are the options: temperature, rainfall, air pressure, air current. These are the options. What restricts the tropical evergreen forest? So we all knew there are four kind of forest: tropical, evergreen, deciduous, right? There are four kind of forest. So which restricts the tropical evergreen forest? Obviously, uh, tropical evergreen forest restricted to heavy rainfall areas, as we all know, heavy rainfall areas of the Western Ghats and the island groups of Lakshadweep, Andaman and Nicobar, right? So every region has a different rainforest, right? We all know every region has a different rainforest, receive a different amount of rainfall, right? So the tropical evergreen forest is restricted to what? Heavy rainfall, what I've told you, and what's the definition in between as well. Definition में भी है ये, right? What's the different name for tropical evergreen? It is a other name as well, right? To the tropical evergreen, that's a tropical rainforest. So the answer is in the question as well. The tropical evergreen forest is restricted to the rainfall. So question number 12, the option number B is correct. Another are incorrect. So here's the question number 13. In thorn forest and scrubs, why are leaves of trees mostly thick and small? That's again related to the forest one, right? So in thorn forest and scrub, why are the leaves of trees mostly thick and small? The question on your screen, and the options are: to maximize evaporation, to minimize evaporation, to reduce the moisture, or to do nothing. These are the four options. So what are thick and what are the thorn forest and scrubs? We all know thorn forest is dense. They shed their leaves seasonally, right? उनकी leaves shed होती हैं by season. And what is scrubs? The area with the low vegetation, right? So why are the leaves of trees mostly thick and small? I'm so sorry. Thick. The leaves are thick and small to minimize the water loss. So thick and small leaves are mostly, why they are thick and small? Mostly to minimize the water loss due to transpiration, so they can hold more water, right? For their protection, because they torn बहुत जल्दी टूट जाते हैं, that they can मतलब they can't be torn easily. They can't be torn easily if they are thick. They hold more nutritions, right? So that's why they are thick. They hold more nutrients, right? So they hold more water as well for their protection. Due to the, they minimize water loss due to the transpiration. That's why. So the answer is what? Answer is what? To maximize evaporation, to minimize evaporation, to reduce moisture, or to do nothing. So the trees are scattered and have long roots, right? Because they're deep into the soil to get more moisture, right? Because they lack of the moisture, right? So the answer of question number 13 is to reduce the moisture. Option number C. Now the question number 14. What have been set up to take care of natural heritage? There are the options: A. Setting up of national parks, setting up of wildlife sanctuaries, setting up of zoological gardens, setting up all of these, right? So why we take care of natural heritage? Obviously, at many places forests are being replaced or degraded, that we won't know, because of their, the main causes for this threat to nature are hunting, poaching by men for commercial purposes. They are hunting, poaching for their commercial purposes. They are not, they are not have that the caring of that natural heritage, right? So to protect the flora and fauna of the country, government have taken some steps. So government have taken some steps. The government of India have taken established on July 15. So the government of India have taken the step in July 2015, where 103 national parks, 530 wildlife sanctuaries, and the zoological garden has been set up to take care of natural heritage, right? So the question number 14, what's the answer was? Is that the setting up of all these, setting up of national parks, wildlife sanctuaries, and zoological garden to protect the flora and fauna of the country, so that men cannot explode them for their purposes. Okay, now next we'll move on to next question. So question number 15, which of the following types of vegetation usually develops an undulating and rough terrain? A is grasslands and woodlands, B mangroves, C cactus and thorny bush, D cultivated crops. Question number 15, there are the four options. What kind of vegetation usually develops an undulating and rough terrains? So what is undulating and rough terrains, everyone? Undulating and rough terrains are areas where grasslands and woodlands developed to give shelter to a variety of wildlife. Okay, so वो areas होते हैं जहाँ पे grassland and woodland develop होते हैं to give shelter to a variety of a wildlife. So these, obviously what I've told you, that's the उसी में आंसर था, correct. So undulating and rough terrains are area where the grasslands and woodlands developed and give shelter to a variety of wildlife. So that's why type of vegetation usually developed on undulating and rough terrains. What is it? The 15 question. What's the answer? Grasslands and woodland. That's the option number A. Let's move on to the question number 16 and the next slide. So here's the question number 16. The character and extent of vegetation are mainly determined by which of the climatic factors? These are the question कि जो करेक्टर और एक्सटेंट होता है वेजिटेशन का वो कौन से क्लाइमेटिक फैक्टर से डिटरमाइन होता है. देयर आर दी ऑप्शंस, फोर ऑप्शन on your screen: temperature, humidity, precipitation, and all of the above. So what is the climate factors? We'll discuss about the climate factors now. So climate factors, what it includes: light, temperature, humidity, precipitation, wind, fire, atmosphere, right? These all, that's all includes the climate factors, right? So ये जो तीनों options है already climatic factors में आ रहे हैं, right? So what it links to, मतलब वो क्या करते हैं, व्हाट इट डायरेक्ट्स टू. Climate factors is direct what? The growth of the vegetation, survival and the reproduction. Obviously जब ये सब सारी चीज़ें मिलेंगी, climate factors मिलेंगे, तो वो अपने आप growth होगी, survival होगा and the reproduction भी होगी. Exactly. So there is it, what I've told, temperature. The temperature affects the frequency of feeding, meal size, rate of digestion, absorption of food, right? बिकॉज टेम्परेचर जैसा होगा वैसे ही आपका मील साइज होता है, वैसे ही हम डाइजेस्ट करते हैं, वैसे ही एब्जॉर्ब करते हैं, उसी टाइप की हमें सनलाइट चाहिए होती है एंड उसी टाइम की हम उसी फ्रिक्वेंसी में अपने आप को फीड करते हैं, राइट. व्हाट्स द रिक्वायरमेंट अकॉर्डिंग टू द टेम्परेचर. So temperature has a big role in it. Okay. So next is humidity. So temperature and humidity are both are the main factors, everyone. Temperature and humidity are the main factors which determine the character and extent of vegetation, right? So here we have discussed the climatic factors, right? And what it links to growth, survival and reproduction. And what are the climate factors? Light, temperature, humidity, precipitation, wind, fire and atmosphere, and temperature affects it, right? This whole we have discussed. So what's the answer? Obviously what we have discussed, that's the answer. Question number 16, the answer is all of the above. Temperature, humidity, precipitation, all are the important factors which determine the character and extent of the vegetation. The question number 16, what's the answer? The option number D. So here's the question number 17. Why are the southern slopes in Himalayan region covered with thick vegetation as compared to northern slopes of the same hills? So what's the question? कि हम जो हमारी साउथर्न स्लोप्स है हिमालय रीजन की वो कवर्ड है थिक वेजिटेशन के साथ, राइट, जो हमने ऑलरेडी पढ़ा था पीछे, एज कम्पेयर टू नॉर्थन स्लोप्स ऑफ द सेम हिल्स. सो देर आर दी four options: on account of more exposure to sunlight, on account of more precipitation, on account of less exposure to colder winds, and the all of the above. So हमने अभी क्वेश्चन नंबर 16 में भी पढ़ा what are the climate factors and what's the vegetation needs, and what affects them: temperature, humidity and precipitation and many other factors, right, that relates to the vegetation. So the growth of vegetation depends upon the what amount of sunlight and rainfall received. खाने के साथ साथ उसे रेनफॉल और सनलाइट भी चाहिए, राइट. सो द ग्रोथ ऑफ वेजिटेशन डिपेंड अपॉन द अमाउंट ऑफ सनलाइट एंड रेनफॉल रिसीव. So the southern slope of the Himalayas receive more rain, right? Due to what? Due to west monsoon winds. Monsoon जो हमारी वेस्ट मानसून की winds हैं उनकी वजह से सबसे ज़्यादा वहाँ पे साउथर्न स्लोप पे क्या होता है, हिमालय की ज़्यादा रेन होती है, which travel west along with the southern slopes, right? Which travel west along with the southern slopes in Himalaya region. That is why that is covered with the thick vegetation as compared to northern slopes of the same hill. So what's the answer for 17? It depends on the amount of sunlight and rainfall. What I have told you earlier, right? So the 17th, what's the answer? That A. The option number is A, on account of more exposure to sunlight, right? क्योंकि precipitation and the colder winds, obviously, they they are also playing a role, but they need a more exposure to sunlight. Like we are human beings, we need oxygen more than a food, right? So the vegetation needs more sunlight than a temperature, humidity, winds, and all. So the question number 17 answer is option number A. Now here's the question number 18 that is also related to the vegetation. Now you're seeing एक ही चैप्टर से और एक ही टॉपिक से हमें बहुत सारे क्वेश्चन आते हैं. So ऐसा नहीं है कि बहुत सारे डिफिकल्टी लेवल पे हमें क्वेश्चन आ रहे हैं. अगर हम एक एक तो टॉपिक को बहुत अच्छे से प्रिपेयर करेंगे then many of questions have been answered itself, right? So ऐसा नहीं है कि बहुत सारे टॉपिक्स करने के बाद भी हम उसको सॉल्व नहीं कर पा रहे. एक टॉपिक से ही यू कैन सी क्वेश्चन लाइन टू लाइन, right? So the question number 18 now. India's natural vegetation has undergone many changes due to which of the following factors? सब वेजिटेशन के ऊपर है, exactly. तो हमने वेजिटेशन के ऊपर ऑलरेडी बहुत ज़्यादा हमने डिटेल में बात कर ली है ऑन दी अबव टू क्वेश्चंस। सो कौन से चेंजेस होते हैं जिसमें हमें वेजिटेशन को अंडरगॉन मतलब गो थ्रू करना पड़ता है विद इन दी ग्रोथ प्रोसेस, जो उसका प्रोसेस होता है। सो द नेशनल वेजिटेशन ऑफ इंडिया हैज अंडरगॉन मैनी चेंजेस इन द रीसेंट पास्ट, राइट। बहुत सारे चेंजेस से हमें गुजरना पड़ता है, लाइक वी हैव अ ग्रोइंग डिमांड ऑफ कल्टिवेटेड लैंड। Obviously, we had a, we have a number of a highest population in the country. So we have the highest population country in the world. So growing demand for the cultivated land. Obviously, हमें land चाहिए जिससे हम अपनी खेती कर सकें to meet the food grain requirements, to fulfill our demands of food and the requirements. So that is caused by the population of the country, right? So that's why the natural vegetation of India has undergone many changes, because in the recent past we have, हमारी पॉपुलेशन बढ़ ही रही है, राइट। वी आर नॉट ऑन द डिक्लाइनिंग फेज, वी आर ऑन द हाईएस्ट फेज एज वेल। सो क्वेश्चन नंबर 18, व्हाट्स द आंसर? The answer now is B. So as I told you that the population also, has a major role over the vegetation. Obviously, we need a cultivated of land. We have a growing demand of agriculture and land use changes. Okay, so what else? The development activities like transportation, raw material extraction. Raw material से ही तो हमारा सारा start होता है vegetation process, right? And what else we need? The mining activity that clear the lands. Obviously, क्या प्रोसेस होता है खेती का? माइनिंग होगी, एंड देन खेती बाड़ी होती है, देयर इज अ सॉइल, देन एक्सट्रैक्शन, देयर इज अ प्रोसेस, राइट। सो माइनिंग एक्टिविटीज भी होती है। What else we need? The increase the large urbanization, industrialization, right? So अब हमारा क्या रहा है, सारा मॉडर्न हो रहा है, urbanization, industrialization, which lead to changes in into the groundwater reserves. Obviously ग्राउंड वाटर रिजर्व से हमारा जो है इंक्रीज लार्ज अर्बनाइजेशन, इंडस्ट्रियलाइजेशन हो रहे हैं, चेंज। एंड व्हाट एल्स? ओवरग्रेजिंग ऑफ pasture animals that causes soil erosion, right? So these are the so many changes what we have done in the recent past. So what's the answer of 18 now? Has undergone many changes due to the following factors. Obviously, growing demand for cultivated land. A, what I've told you. B, development of industry and mining. Obviously, there is a developmental activity, transportation, raw material. बहुत सारी companies बन रही हैं. Second option, overgrazing of pastures. Obviously, for that is causing soil erosion. Obviously, so overgrazing of pastures is also important. So all of the above, right? So we have discussed all the options. So the correct answer is question number 18 is option D. So now the question number 19, that is ebony, mahogany and rosewood trees are grown in which type of following forest on your screen. So here are the four options. All are the forest, right? So all are related to the forest and vegetation, everyone. So there is nothing to worry about. They are from the same concept, right? So ये कौन से forest में grow होते हैं? They are the options. So in India, what we call evergreen forest, what I have told you earlier, that is identified as tropical rainforest, right? That is located where? In the states such as Kerala, Karnataka, right? So there is a two names. Evergreen forest equals to tropical rainforest. Please remember this. So these forests are discovered in the westward slope of the Western Ghats. Okay, and some of trees can be located in the tropical forest are ebony, bamboo, rosewood trees. So there are they made of. Okay, so important trees in rainforest are in tropical rainforest is tropical evergreen forest. Okay, so important trees in tropical evergreen or rainforest are rosewood, mahogany, and ebony. What they called? What these kind of trees are called? Are hardwood trees. So question number 19, the answer is the question number B, the tropical rainforest. So let's move on to the question number 20 now. Now the question number 20, at which of the following places are Royal Bengal tigers found? So what are Royal Bengal tigers? What they are famous for? They hunt in the water too, right? They are courageous, self-esteem towards the British governments. That's why they have called the largest tiger in the world. Okay, they have called the largest tiger in the world. So that's why they're asking the which places the royal tigers are found. So the delta formed by Ganga and Brahmaputra rivers, more than three-fourths of the Royal Bengal tigers in the eastern India, can be found in the marshy delta of the Sundarbans. So Sundarbans, Mahanadi Delta, Godavari, Kaveri, and Sundarban. Sundarbans are famous for the Royal Bengal tiger. Everyone. This is the delta formed by Ganga and Brahmaputra rivers. More than three-fourths of the Royal Bengal tigers in eastern India are found over the Sundarban delta. Okay. So the question number 20, the answer is D. The Sundarban delta is what is found in the Royal Bengal tigers found in the Sundarban delta. The question number 20, the answer is option D. So the question number 21 is which one of the following is the Biosphere Reserve of India? Here's the question number 21 is the what is the Biosphere Reserve of India? So what is the Biosphere Reserve of India? Let's discuss this. Biosphere Reserve is a unique and representative ecosystem of the coastal areas, everyone, that is internationally recognized within the framework of UNESCO and Biosphere Program. So there are total of 15 biosphere reserve in India, where the out of these four biosphere has been included in the world's network of biosphere reserve. The four are Sundarbans in West Bengal, Nanda Devi in Uttarakhand, Gulf of Mannar is Tamil Nadu, Nilgiris in Kerala, Karnataka, and Tamil Nadu. Sundarbans in West Bengal, see the above one, and Nanda Devi in Uttarakhand, Gulf of Mannar in Tamil Nadu. Gulf of Mannar in Tamil Nadu, we have done that question. Gulf of Mannar and Pak State separates India from Sri Lanka. We have done earlier questions. And the fourth one is Nilgiris in Kerala, Karnataka, and Tamil Nadu. These are the four, you know, whole world's network of biosphere reserves. We have to learn this, everyone. You have to learn this because some of the questions are not only for the only for the understanding. Some of they are learning and understanding as well. So these are for learning. These are the four Sundarbans, Nanda Devi, Gulf of Mannar, and Nilgiris. So here you can see one of the four options. Gir, obviously that's not the name in our four one. Nilgiri, yes, we do have the name. Nilgiri in Kerala, Karnataka, and Tamil Nadu. That's the fourth one. Kaneri, no. None of these, no. Obviously, the A, C, and D, they are incorrect ones, right? B, Nilgiri is a world's network of biosphere reserve. These are the in between the four biosphere reserves. So the question number 21 is option B is the correct one. Okay, so let's move on to question number 22 now. So here's the question number 22. Which one of the following types of vegetation does rubber belong to? So which kind of type of vegetation does rubber belong to? Okay. A, it's tundra. B, tidal. C, Himalaya. D, tropical evergreen. On your screen, here are the question and there are the options. So, uh, again and again, tropical evergreen is coming up, everyone. So, tropical evergreen, what is tropical rainforest, right? So, the rubber plants. What are the rubber plants? Rubber plants are a type of a fast-growing broadleaf evergreen vegetation. It's a evergreen vegetation because it's a rubber plants are made of them the tropical evergreen only. So obviously that's an easy question. Himalaya, that's not related to the vegetation, right? And tundra and tendal also A, B, and C. That's not related to the vegetation at all. So question number 22 is very easy because the vegetation does rubber belong to is tropical evergreen. That's the question में ही answer था. That's a 22. The option number D. Okay, the tropical evergreen, the tropical rainforest. Okay, is the answer. Question number 22. The answer is option number D. Now the question number 23. In which year Wildlife Protection Act was implemented in India? ऑब्वियसली इट्स अ लर्निंग वन. वाइल्ड लाइफ प्रोटेक्शन एक्ट कब हुआ था इम्प्लीमेंट? ऑब्वियसली किसके लिए हुआ होगा? हमारे वाइल्ड लाइफ क्रिएचर्स के लिए, राइट, फॉर देयर प्रोटेक्शन बिकॉज ऑफ द हंटिंग एंड पोचिंग बाय मैन, राइट. It's similar of the similar questions. So why it was implemented? Because of the hunting, because of the man poaching, right? For the exploration purposes, the wildlife is being exploded, right? It has been ruled. So that's why in which year the act has been implemented in 1972. That's an act which is done by the Parliament of India, enacted for protection of plants and animal species for their protection, right? So main objective were to avoid the hunting specifically. So main objective were to avoid the hunting of specified animals and the birds, so the plants, and the setting up of a wildlife management and the national parks where we have zoos, sanctuaries, and everything. National parks, zoological parks, sanctuaries. So there we have a wildlife management right now, right? अभी zoos आते हैं तो बहुत सारा wildlife management होता है because now we have to obviously we have to protect our wildlife creatures as well. We have to protect the plants and animal species as well, specified animal as well. So that's why this act has been implemented in 1972. So 23, the option is C is the correct answer. That is 1972. Now move on to the next question. The resources which are found everywhere are known as. It's a very easy question. Let me tell you, everyone. So the resources found which are found everywhere known as A. A. Ubiquitous, non-renewable resources, human-made, none of the above. So what is natural resources? Obviously, which is made of by which is naturally produced, which is a resource by natural nature given to us, right? So here are the two kind of natural resources. That ubiquitous resources. What is that? This is found everywhere where we live, where we are living, like air, water, sunlight, etc. These are the resources of ubiquitous. B is non-renewable resources. We are going through the options. हम पहले एक एक ऑप्शन को डिटेल में देखते हैं, देन विल लीड टू द आंसर बिकॉज दैट्स अ इजी क्वेश्चन. सो लेट्स स्टार्ट विद द ऑप्शन. दैट्स ट्रिक कि पहले आप ऑप्शंस देखो एंड ऑप्शंस में से पहले आप उनका मीनिंग देखो एंड देन रिलेट टू द क्वेश्चंस. सो दैट्स अ नॉन रिन्यूएबल. व्हाट इज अ नॉन रिन्यूएबल रिसोर्सेज? दैट्स अ कोल, पेट्रोलियम, राइट. हमने बहुत सारी क्लासेस में करा अपने स्कूल टाइम्स में. So there are two types, ubiquitous and localized resources. What are localized? Localized is found in some that we found in some parts of our world, or that is iron, copper. These are the localized resources. Now next is human-made resources. What is human-made? Obviously, made by mankind by using natural resources for their needs, right? Made by mankind by using natural resources for their needs. So, the resources which are found everywhere, I have told in the detail. I have told in the detail as right before. That is ubiquitous resources found everywhere where we live. That is air, water, sunlight. The question number 24. The answer is A. That's a very easy question. So let's move on to the next question. Now the question number 25. Balancing the need to use resources and also conserve them for their future. It's called A. Sustainable development. B. Resource conservation, resource development, and D. Human resource development. So here's the question number 25, where the balancing the need to use resources and also conserve them for the future. What's the definition of sustainable development? Let's discuss the option number A now. Sustainable development is the process of utilization of natural resources for human development without completely depleting them, but by sustaining the ability to nature to continue to provide, right? नेचुरल रिसोर्सेज को यूटिलाइजेशन करना डेवलपमेंट के लिए, ह्यूमन डेवलपमेंट के लिए, बट विदाउट विदाउट कम्प्लीटली डिप्लीटिंग देम. सारा खराब नहीं करना बिकॉज वी हैव टू सी द फ्यूचर एज वेल. फॉर द फ्यूचर नीड्स वी हैव टू प्रोवाइड द रिसोर्सेज एज वेल फॉर आवर फ्यूचर नीड्स. सो दिस रिलेटेड टू आवर फ्यूचर. Conservation, that is the conserving the resources. C is resource development, that's the development process of the resources or the resource development. Next is human resource development, obviously the resources development of the human resources development is, that is I'm so sorry, that is the resource development over that is done by the human. So what's the question? Balancing the need to use resources and also conserve them for your future. What I've told you, sustainable development, that is with fair utilization of natural resources for human development right now as well, without depleting for the future needs, by sustaining the ability to nature to continue to provide the resources in future as well. So the question to 25, question number 25, the answer is option number A, that is sustainable development. Let's move on to the next. Now the question number 26, the thin layer of grainy substance covering the surface of the earth is called A, soil, B, sand, C, mineral, D, organic matter. So what's the question? The thin layer of grainy substance covering the surface of the earth, जो हमारी सॉरी जो थिन लेयर है ग्रेन सब्सटेंस की, वो हमारी क्या कवर कर रही है? द सरफेस ऑफ द अर्थ. सो व्हाट इज सॉइल? Let's talk about first A, that what is soil. Soil is the material found on the surface of the earth that is composed of organic and inorganic material. Soil varies in its composition and the structure of its particle. Obviously, soil is a vital important to the sustainability of an ecosystem. As we all know, without soil, the plant didn't grow, right? The plant doesn't grow. So we not the sand. So soil is the important one. Let's move on to the B, sand. Obviously, we require a sand to plant a tree. C, minerals. Obviously, the the nutrients provided by a sunlight, rainfall, temperature. The mineral has been created under the soil, right? D, organic matter. The fertilization, chemical fertilization, right? So the question number 26, what's the answer? The thin layer of grainy substance covering the surface of the earth is called soil, right? What's the covering the surface of the earth of the thin layer? That is soil. The question number 26, the answer is option is A. Let's move on to the next question now. Here's the question number 27. The main major factor of soil formation are A, the nature of the parent rock, B, climate factors, C, time taken for the composition of soil formation, D, all of the above. So what's that? The major factor of soil formation. How the soil formation forms. What we need. There are the five major factors, that is time, climate, parent material, topography and relief, and organism. These are the five main factors: organism, topography, climate, parent material, and time. These are the five important factors. So, as we can see the options, the nature of the parent rock, climatic factors, time taken for the composition of soil formation, and the all of the above. So, I've already told you the major factors of the soil formation are five. So, which is nature, the parent rock, climate, time. So obviously the answer is option D, which is the 27th. Option is D, all of the above.